By Olivia, 31. You never forget the moment you realize the person you love has been lying to your face. For me, it was a Tuesday. I was folding laundry, half watching a sitcom rerun, when his phone buzzed on the coffee table. We had a rule: no secrets, no locked screens, no hiding. So I picked it up without thinking. And there it was. A message from someone named Jules. "Last night was amazing. You smell like cinnamon." Cinnamon. I stared at that word until it blurred. Like somehow that single, stupid word could shatter a decade of trust. His name was Nate. We'd been together since we were 20. Moved in by 23. Shared a dog, a mortgage, and a toothbrush holder. I'd given him my best years. And he gave Jules his cinnamon-scented body. I didn't scream. Didn't throw the phone. Didn't even cry. Instead, I set it down. And started planning. See, Nate always thought I was soft. Too nice. Too forgiving. He mistook silence for weakness. But I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry on the kitchen floor. I was going to ruin him, calmly, systematically. Because some betrayals don't deserve closure. They deserve consequences. Step 1 was patience. I waited 2 weeks. Played the loving girlfriend. Made dinner. Kissed him goodnight. Listened to his lies about late nights at the gym. Every smile he gave me was a nail in his own coffin. Every night he spent texting her under the covers, thinking I was asleep, was another reason to keep going. Because I wanted him comfortable. I wanted him to feel safe. Because you don't destroy a man while he's expecting it. You wait until he's laughing. And then you burn it all down. Step 2 was information. I started digging. Quietly. Checked his browser history, his bank statements, his location history. Nothing illegal. Just observant. Turned out Jules wasn't just a fling. She was a coworker. A junior associate at his firm. 24. Blonde. The type who posts inspirational quotes with cleavage shots. I watched their texts. The dates. The hotel receipts. I screenshotted everything. Compiled it into a folder called tax stuff so he'd never open it. But I wasn't just collecting receipts. I was studying him. His patterns. His triggers. His blind spots. Because Nate wasn't just cheating. He was sloppy about it. Arrogant. And arrogance makes people predictable. Step 3, the setup. I waited for his birthday. He was planning a party, rented out a rooftop bar, invited all our friends, coworkers, even his boss. Go big or go home, he said. Perfect. The night before, I sent out a batch of emails. Anonymous, of course. With attachments. Screenshots. Photos. Dates. Times. All tied to a single message. Thought you should know who you're celebrating. I sent one to his boss. One to his mother. And one to Jules' fiancé. Yep, forgot to mention she was engaged. And then? I got dressed for the party. Wore red, Nate's favorite color. Smiled all night. Watched the room slowly unravel. His boss arrived late, pale and silent. Jules didn't show up at all. Nate kept glancing at his phone, sweating through his button-down. Then the whispers started. One guest quietly laughed. Then another. Then his best friend, who wouldn't meet his eyes. And still, I smiled. Because chaos doesn't need volume. Sometimes it's quiet. And all the more devastating. When we got home that night, he exploded. Nobody would look at me. What the hell is going on, Olivia? I blinked slowly. Innocent people don't panic this much. He looked at me like I'd grown horns. You did something. I poured a glass of wine. Didn't answer. He stormed around the apartment, checking his laptop, his phone. When he found the empty email drafts folder, he looked like he might cry. You ruined my life? No, I said. You did that all on your own. I just mailed the invitations. He didn't sleep that night. Neither did I. I lay awake, Listening to him pace, rehearse apologies, delete photos of Jules, delete social media altogether. In the morning, his boss called. Administrative leave while we sort things out. Then Jules' fiancé made a public post, 2 engagement photos, crossed out, and a caption that just read, "Ask Nate about room 506. Nate locked himself in the bathroom. I made pancakes. Step 4 was cleanup. I filed for separation. Didn't want alimony. Didn't want drama. Just my name back. I took what was mine, the dog, the books, the signed vinyls he never listened to, and left behind the rest. He tried to call. Tried to text. Said he made a mistake. I didn't respond. Because revenge wasn't the goal. Reckoning was. I didn't want to hurt him. I wanted him to feel the weight of what he did. To know that trust isn't infinite. That love isn't a shield for betrayal. That women like me, quiet, loyal, devoted, are also capable of fire. And sometimes, we burn everything. Especially the lies. The weeks that followed were oddly peaceful. Not quiet, he kept trying to reach out. Emails. Flowers at my office. Voicemails with trembling, "I miss yous." But I didn't flinch. Didn't answer. I watched as his social life collapsed. One friend at a time. First, his gym buddy unfollowed him. Then his group chat accidentally left him behind on a boys' trip. He posted one cryptic quote to Instagram, "Some people never forgive." No likes. I kept rebuilding. Found a new apartment. Adopted a second dog. Started seeing a therapist. I didn't mention his name once. He wasn't the villain in my story. He was just a plot device. Months passed. Then one day, I got a message from Jules. It was short. "Thank you." That was it. But it was enough. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. Because some revenge doesn't need an audience. Some revenge is silent. Slow. Satisfying. And I wasn't done yet. I knew he was trying to start over. Saw the new job on LinkedIn. New girl on his arm, this time, someone less glamorous, more humble. He even posted about healing and learning. Shoot. But you can't heal without truth. And he still hadn't told the truth. So I left one last message. Anonymous. To her. Not cruel. Not explicit. Just a question. Has he told you everything about Olivia? Attached. A single photo. The hotel room keycard. She never responded. But 2 days later, his profile went dark. Again. Let him live in shadows. Let him wonder when the next thread will unravel. Because I'm not chasing closure. I am the closure. 6 months later, I saw him at a wedding. Not ours, obviously. Mutual friend. He was standing alone near the bar, swirling whiskey like it owed him something. He spotted me. His face twisted, surprise, panic, something sour. I smiled. Not out of malice. Out of complete, unapologetic calm. Because I looked incredible. Because I felt incredible. Because he couldn't touch me anymore. Not my heart, not my mind, not my peace. He approached me. Of course he did. Started with the classics. "You look amazing. I've been meaning to call. Things didn't work out with her." I nodded politely. Let him talk. Then I said, "I'm happy for you." He blinked. Confused. Off balance. "Really?" he asked, hopeful. "Yeah," I smiled. "Happy that I'm not you." And I walked away. I didn't need a dramatic speech. Didn't need revenge confetti. Because the real revenge is living a life they can't access. A life they don't get to narrate. A life they'll watch from the outside, wondering how they ever thought they deserved to be part of it. And him? He'll keep searching for someone to save him from himself. But that's not my job anymore. Never was. I went home that night and danced barefoot in my kitchen. Music loud. Dogs barking. Laughter echoing off the walls. Not because I'd won. but because I'd stopped letting him make me feel like I'd lost. Months passed. Then a year. Then 2. I never blocked him. Never reached out either. He stayed where he belonged, in the past, rotting like a fruit no one bothered to pick. Sometimes mutual friends would mention him. He's different now, he misses you, he's trying to change. I never asked. Because I didn't care. But then, something strange started happening. He started showing up. Not in person. Online. Liking photos from years ago. Viewing my stories. Commenting on mutuals' posts where I was tagged. Trying to be seen without being obvious. Trying to haunt the edges of my life like a ghost. One night, I got an anonymous message. No name. No profile pic. Just, you think you're better than everyone, but people don't forget. I knew it was him. Because the only people who say you think you're better are the ones who know they never deserved you in the first place. I didn't reply. But I did take a screenshot. And I saved it. Just in case. Because people like him? They don't let go. Not out of love. Out of ego. Out of the aching realization that the thing they broke won't come back, and won't stay broken either. That's the part that kills them. Not losing you. But watching you thrive without them. And me? I was done being the girl who cried in her wedding dress. Done being the quiet one who waited for an apology that never came. I wasn't waiting anymore. I was moving. Fast. Forward. Free. I knew he'd try to make a comeback. Guys like him always do. They don't mourn you when they lose you, they mourn the control. So when I got the second message, this time from a real account, with a face and a name and a pathetic little caption like, "Hope you're doing okay," I knew the time had come. I didn't block him. I didn't even open the message. I just watched. Waited. Tracked. Because the best way to destroy a man like him? Let him think he has a chance. Let him reach. Let him hope. Then twist. So I started my own little theater. Nothing dramatic. Just reminders. A tagged photo at a black tie gala, my arm hooked in the elbow of a venture capitalist I wasn't even dating. A boomerang clinking champagne in a suite he used to say was out of our league. A comment exchange with someone he hated, polite, professional, but warm enough to burn. And then I made the final move. I reached out to her. The girl he cheated with. His upgrade. Turns out, she wasn't doing so well. Turns out, she'd been lied to too. Turns out, he'd moved on from her the same way he had from me, with betrayal, silence, and the cold excuse of, I just need to find myself. We met for coffee. Not to bond. To confirm. And when I showed her the timeline, the screenshots, the proof of every overlap and lie, her hands shook. He said you were crazy, she whispered. I smiled. He says that about all the women who see him clearly. She didn't cry. Not then. But I saw it, that glassy stare, the quiet breath through her nose as she held back the collapse. It wasn't just about him. It was about being fooled. About realizing she'd thrown herself into a fantasy built on my ruins. We talked for an hour. And in that hour, something shifted. Not into friendship, we weren't built for that. But into alignment. A kind of silent truce between two women who had survived the same storm from different directions. She didn't owe me anything. But she offered it anyway. I kept the messages, she said. Everything he sent me, even the ones he deleted. She slid her phone across the table. And I felt it, the click, the snap, the final piece falling into place. What happened next wasn't messy. It was surgical. I built a final package, every date, every lie, every contradiction. Cross-referenced, time-stamped, airtight. I didn't send it to his job. I didn't need to. I sent it to his mentor. The one person he still tried to impress. The man who once wrote his recommendation letters. The man who ran the conference where he wanted to speak this fall. I didn't include an explanation. Just a line, thought you might want to know who you're backing. 2 weeks later, the keynote slot was rescheduled. 3 weeks later, his name disappeared from the board of a nonprofit he used to brag about. A month later, his LinkedIn went from strategy director to freelance consultant. And her? She moved out of his apartment. Publicly. No drama. Just a photo of packed boxes with the caption, "Learning, growing, healing, I didn't like her." But in that moment, I respected her. By fall, he was invisible. Not gone. No, people like him never truly disappear, but irrelevant. No invites. No features. No glowing LinkedIn endorsements. He had become a ghost in the industry he once bragged about owning. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that he was trying to rebrand. New name. New logo. New haircut. But reputation doesn't wash off that easily. And when the past follows you like a shadow, even the best lighting can't hide the shape of your mistakes. Meanwhile, I grew. Quietly, steadily. No flashy posts. No vengeance quotes. Just progress. The kind that builds. A startup I once dreamed about became a reality. I launched it with 3 partners who knew my story and respected it. We focused on real things. Useful things. Things that couldn't be faked or stolen. And slowly, my name became a quiet force in the space. Not everyone noticed, but the right ones did. One day, almost a year to the day after he left me for her, I got an email. From him. Subject line, "I owe you an apology." I didn't open it. Didn't need to. Because here's the thing about revenge, it's never about the apology. It's about reclaiming the pieces of yourself someone thought they could break. I didn't destroy his life. I just made sure the truth had room to breathe. And the truth? It did the rest. To be continued, I ran into him 6 months later. Not planned. Just a random Wednesday in a grocery store parking lot. He looked older. Not just in the face, in the posture. In the way he avoided eye contact. In the silence that clung to him like regret. He didn't recognize me at first. Then he did. His face shifted, shock, guilt, maybe even shame. "Olivia." I waited. Let the silence stretch. "You look good," he finally said. I nodded. "You don't." He laughed, awkward and small. "I guess I deserved that." I didn't argue. Didn't need to. Because everything that needed to be said was already written across his tired eyes and slumped shoulders. He tried again. "I'm sorry for everything." I gave him a smile. Not cruel. Not warm. Just final. "I hope you learned something from all of it." And then I walked away. Not out of anger. But peace. Because closure doesn't come from apologies. It comes from power. And I had taken mine back. He lost everything. Not because I screamed. Not because I begged. But because I stopped playing the victim. And started playing the game better than he ever could. Some people learn from their mistakes. Some people just become them. He became a cautionary tale. And me? I became unstoppable.